bit work as an extra and stuff, still doing my makeup artistry. So I've always sort of juggled 2 or 3, 4 things at the same time, because for me it's just all creativity. Doesn't matter whether you're an actress, doesn't matter whether you're a makeup artist or a scientist making creams, you're creating something. And I think as women, we are producers. We produce stuff. You know, the mere fact that we're all here, somebody produced us. You know what I'm saying? So we have that natural energy, we just need to tap into it. And so yeah, basically I started my first business, took it to market at Spitalfields Market. People were buying it, eating it, because it was just, they were like, rah, this is really, really natural. I can't believe that I can read the label and I can understand everything that's in this. And that sparked my confidence, because at that time I was like, who am I? Why are people going to buy from me? I'm just little Black Claire from Islington, you know. And it's about that sort of aha moment when you start getting people interested in what you're doing. Again, relaying it back to you. When you reached out to me, I messaged you back within 10 minutes, because I'm like, yeah, man. Love what you're doing, of course I'm going to come and speak, you know what I mean, because you should just jump at opportunities. So the brand didn't really work because the name wasn't right and things just went wrong, but that's a whole another story. I want to make it quick.
Yeah, and that's actually something we're going to talk about later.
Yeah. So then I relaunched 5 months later, came back with Pre-May, and within 40 days we were award nominated. In that time, we've won 16 awards. That's almost like 4 awards in 4 months. I've been featured in Forbes magazine, every magazine you can imagine, basically in the world. So, yeah, I mean, people say to me, you know, so then after that I did my allergy diploma, then I got an honorary doctorate of biochemistry, submitted my thesis which was about vegan skincare as modern medicine for the skin. And I've just been educating people ever since. It just gives me so much joy to share education, going into like Tesco's and supermarkets with my customers on FaceTime, like, yeah, put that down, buy this, no, don't do that, okay? And it literally, like the other day was carnival and people were like, oh my God, but I don't want to drink this, I don't want to do it. I'm like, babe, just pack lunch, because you know you're going to fall off when you're out there in carnival. But yeah, that's basically me in a nutshell, yeah.
And you really do show that where you start off with that, like I was saying, does not need to affect where you end up.
Completely. It's all in your mind, literally. I know that sounds so abstract, like it's all in your mind, like what do I need to do with my mind? But it's sort of like, you just need to be yourself. That's why I even love your whole brand, like just us, as in you, me, us. It's like, there's no you, there's no, like, what really helped me when I was actually acting, which I'm just about to start going back into, was when I realised that I have no competition. And that just set me free. Like I was 21 and I was like, wow, I have no competition. I'm my only competition. Every single year I look at myself and I go, right, okay, so this time last year, what was you on? Okay, so you got that. Okay, so what are you going to do next year? I don't have time to look at Hope and be like, oh my God, Hope's on this now. And I've got to, I'm not interested in you. I have to be all in on me, because I can only better and further myself. I have no idea what she does when she goes home or what she's up to. That's her special, unique journey. Same way mine is. So that's where I sort of take my strength from.
And like I said, has anybody got any questions directly for Claire before she does have to? Sorry. Quickly stand up and just say your name.
My email's really simple. It's just CEO at and the brand name. Is it on there? Might even be on the back of the card, because it's pronounced Pre-May, but it's spelled Pre-May. So let me just see. No, it's not on there. Okay, PREMAE skincare.com. So yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Has anyone else got any questions for her? Or being a CEO in general? No more questions? Last time?
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you. Hi, Samra.
I've recently gone vegan, so this is a
Yes.
you know what you do yourself.
Good.
And I also, in the future, wanted to start my own business
Good.
and promote veganism. So I'm actually in Coventry right now. This is Warwick.
Yeah.
Coventry University. I'm 21.
Yay.
And I don't think that there's a lot of vegan places in Coventry as well. And I think
I
it'd
can't
be good
imagine
to start
there is.
something there as well. And I don't know if there's
When you say a vegan place, were you thinking like restaurant or like a lifestyle centre?
Whole Foods place where I can buy my own products.
Okay.
Skincare and snacks, things that people can actually have on the go.
Yeah.
You know, when you're out there, you don't know.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to stay on that track, yeah, because they're not readily available and they're not that. It's becoming trendy now, especially in London. We're sort of spoilt for choice in a weird way. But obviously in remote places like Coventry, not remote, but some suburban. Yeah. They're just sort of like, yeah, where do I go? I'm not going to come into London all the time for that. I would say, think about the location. Because I've had like 4 shops in the last 4 years, and some locations have worked really well. Like when I was at Carnaby Street, it was beautiful. I was on the 2nd floor. I was right in between a yoga retreat, so that sort of woman was my sort of clientele who was into yoga, and they were eating well, and then we had a discount code together, so we were hooking each other up. That was cool. When I was in Whiteley's, I was sort of tucked around the corner, sort of very easy to miss. So make sure you get your location right, because you don't want it to be a destination that people are looking for. You want to be right there on the high street. I would say don't take the first rent that's offered. Like, I've become a master at negotiating, and that's just because I'm willing to walk away. At the end of the day, a lot of these empty shops would prefer some rent than no rent, especially in the recession right now. So just be like, look man, this is what I can afford. What can you do, you know? And then ask them for like 3 or 4 months up front free, so that you can decorate and you can spend money on your actual produce. Rally round with all the vegan companies in your city, and just see if you guys can sort each other out with some discount or cross promote on websites and get them involved in your launch. Like, people think with Premade, it's like, this girl just always hooks people up, because every time I have an event, I've got like 10 other brands. Because for me, like I just told you, you guys know my secret, I don't have any competition. So it's nothing for me to say, yeah, come and have a little stand there or a little table and showcase what you're doing, because why not? You know? So get other brands to come into your shop and showcase what they're about. Even if they're established or they're slightly unknown, again, you might want to get them to come and share that rent with you, so it makes it even easier to exist. Because that's the thing about women. We are sometimes our own worst enemy, and we can be like, yeah, you know, I'm going to be raw and strong, I'm going to do my thing, and I don't want to partner up with nobody, and then you're stressed, struggling, fail. When you could have just said, you know what, I don't want to do this by myself. Can we do it together? Like, can we work on this together? It makes life easy.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Anyway, one more question.
Yes, please. Throw them at me, because I'm here for like another 6 minutes.
Okay, keep on us.
My name is Anita.
Hi, Anita.
You said that when you first started branding, what did you do the second time that?
Good question, thank you. Yeah, so the first time I had my brand, it was like I was thinking like a small business. I was seeing myself as a very small fish in a massive pond. I was too aware of the competition, Body Shop, Lush, even though I worked at Body Shop on and off for 6 years, so I knew the in and outs of the business, but the brand just was too shabby chic. You know what I mean? I was printing my labels on my home computer. I mean, you got to start somewhere, so that was my sort of barrier to entry. It's like, how am I going to get this off the ground? Do it yourself. So I did it myself, right? But in my mind, it was like, I'm a small fish and I've got to work my way up. Could take me 10, 15, 20 years. Oh, I've got 20 years. I'm going to do this right now, right? So when I rebranded, I was like, right, my whole vision is I'm going to be the Black Estee Lauder. And I'm going to have about 10, 15 brands under me in the next 10, 15 years. So I was just stealing with pride, just looking at their website, looking at mine, looking at mine. And now my brand is so iconic, when you go on my website and you see it, you feel like you're on Estee Lauder Clinique. And they've been around for 50 years. So when my brand is getting pitted against these brands and winning, because my formulations are brilliant, then I'm like, yeah. Because the way I've styled it and branded it, I didn't think like a small business. I was like, if I want to really be in this pond, I need to be a player. I need to look like a player. You know, apologies, I'm wearing Nikes today. I'm not wearing no heels. I ain't looking like a player today. But my website and my branding, you can't try it, man.
Any more questions?
Hi, my name's Mia.
Hi, Neil.
I have a question for like those who are like around like 18 to 20 and considering going uni. And I saw that the course that you did was completely different to business. And I'm sure there's a lot of people around the ages of like 16 who have those ideas being like, oh yeah, I could do business. I could bust on my own business and get everyone out on the street. So what advice would you have? Did you find that was university useful? What is the ways of kind of using even the courses that relate to like business and doing those sorts of things?
Brilliant
If
question.
not, what kind of things would you suggest to those who feel like they're in like a lost period, like they're not sure if they should go to university or do this thing? Like, what advice would you give?
Wonderful. Thank you. Like, when I was at uni, I think we were the first or second year who had just started with the loans. So we just missed the grants. And now you guys are in, like, I think it's 3 times the amount that I was probably paying. So that is a massive, again, barrier to entry where you're like, oh my God, I'm going to start my adult life in debt. Like, what, why? You know what I mean? And then if I get that piece of paper, is there really a job at the end of it? Because I see my cousin or my brother and he's broke. You know what I mean? And you're thinking like, what is really going to happen for me? I did drama with film and TV. It was a joint honours, so it was like doing 2 degrees in one. One was behind the camera and the theory, one was in front performing as a presenter and actress. All of my friends laughed at me. Straight, they were like, you know what, Claire, what are you going to do with a drama degree? You know what I mean? There's no black actresses on telly, so what are you going to do? You're going to write your own plays or your own things? And I was like, yeah, and I tried, I did. Again, trying to be wrong and strong, doing it all by myself, and it didn't work. And at the end of it, my friends were doing economics and business. Joke thing is now, 5 years on, as in 5 years into my business, my business friends message me for business advice. I've never been to them for business advice. Because you know what? A lot of this is just doing it. You're gonna fail. You're gonna waste money. You're going to waste time, you're going to waste energy, you're going to cry, you're going to get that big order and think, oh my God, now that it's here, how do I fulfill it? You know, I had an order from Glossybox for 30,000 products, and I spent 30 days doing that from the covers of my bed because I was unwell, by hand. So I know, if you put me to the test, I can make 1,000 products by hand a day. I called a friend to come and help me. She had a small business that she was doing like shea butter and body balms. And I said, yo, can you help me? She said, yeah. Do you know what? Someone put an order in to me for 50. And I tried to do it and I got to 5 and I was like, oh, can't be bothered. I was like, babe, don't bring that energy to my house, you know. You just need to be making sure that you're on point. Like, this Glossybox, like, it's global. I'm in the same box as Lady Gaga and Katy Perry and everyone. She did about 25 for me, and she started feeling sick. And she started like, oh my God, and just sitting in my bathroom for 10, 15 minutes. And I was like, do you know what? She can't do it for herself. How could she ever do it for me? Right? So this is another lesson. It's about how are you gonna be a CEO or a boss at anywhere if you don't work hard at school now? If you don't work hard at your part-time job? Oh, no, I'll get to it when it's mine. Of course I'm going to put in the hours. You don't even know, because you need to learn. Use your working experience as your opportunity to try and fail on somebody else's dime, on somebody else's pay, when they're paying you to fail and muck around and learn and go training and all of that, because you're not going to get that in your own business. You need to be ready. Going back to your original question, so people were looking at me like, oh my God, you know, how are you going to set up a skincare brand? My skin was horrible. That was my driving motivation. How am I going to be a successful makeup artist? I'm losing work because my skin doesn't look good. You know, when they're like, Claire, your skills are sick. Like, I saw your portfolio, but when you turn up, you got eczema and acne and I don't know. And that was confronting for me. Any of you girls can feel the same way, like, rah, someone's really judging me on my skin. Like, that hurts. And when you've got acne, it don't matter how much makeup you put on, you still look unhygienic when you've got acne. You could be the freshest person in the world. Do you know what I'm saying? But this skin disorder that you're trying so hard to remedy, it starts to take over and you feel insecure and your self-esteem and, you know, and it's just not on. So what I would say, sorry, and I keep going on a tangent, sorry, Nia, is that if you're on one path, don't be afraid to go to another path. You have to do what's right for you. When I picked my drama degree, I was like, if I'm going to study it for another 3 years, I need to enjoy it. I tried business studies for 7 weeks at college and I walked out. I just found it to be dry. But actually doing it in real life, there's no better feeling in the world. So it swings and roundabouts. I would really just say, just go with your gut. It's that simple thing.
Thank you so much. So if you need to leave now, thank you so much. And can we start with you, Hope? Like,
Collect the microphone.
So the question again is what are the most important traits for being a successful leader today?
Well, when I was looking through the questions that you sent through to me and I was thinking about this, I feel like there's so many qualities that make a rounded, amazing female leader. But the number one thing that stands out to me is integrity. I feel like you have to have integrity in anything that you do. And by that I mean having a set of values and moral principles that you live by regardless, wherever you are, however high you get, however successful you are, you have to have that point that you go back to whatever you do, because I think it's so important. And I know you wanted like personal experiences and stories. So the first time that this quality really became apparent to me was when I was at university. So I was chairing the student union campaign for racial awareness and equality at Oxford. And that was a huge responsibility. So that was a huge responsibility, and it was like a really stressful year for me. And during that year, we actually compiled an amazing research report. It was called 100 Voices, and it was gathering the experiences of black students at the university. And it was kind of tense because we had to work with like really senior officials and kind of bring those issues that we were having as black students to people who loved Oxford, like these people who had studied there, went back there, like were teaching there as well. Like it was a huge thing. So I kind of became kind of the face for that alongside like my partner. And there was a time where a particularly like sensitive story broke in the media. And obviously, like if you get the name Oxford, it will hype it up even more. So like loads of like the different newspapers were covering it and whatnot. And basically, like a really senior official at the university phoned me that morning, and she was like, "Oh, you know, we've had these really bad stories come out about us. Like, could you get any of your black students at the university or in your network to maybe post on like the Times for comments or anything to say that, to like basically refute the claims?" So I think the story was saying that, you know, Oxford doesn't take enough black students, basically. And they were trying to say, you know, like, we'll send a little paragraph, you let people, you know, copy and paste it, that'd be fantastic. And, you know, if you do that, then we might be a little bit more receptive to what you want in terms of your campaign. So I had to sit there for a minute and think, well, you know, on the one hand, we really want this research report to go through. We want to have this race summit. We want to see amazing things for black students at the university. But at the same time, you have to have integrity and you have to represent the people that back you. You have to represent people that look like you, people that are you. And I feel like that's a responsibility. So I have to use my integrity and say, like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. And if that means that you can't go forth with like backing the research project, then firstly you're not doing your job properly, so you shouldn't really be where you are. And secondly, I know that this needs to happen at this university and students will back it in the future. So even if it doesn't happen during my time as like chair, it will happen eventually. But I'm not going to sacrifice kind of my moral principles or anything, because I just feel like there's so much emphasis on like image and hype in terms of being a leader, especially in like the social media environment. Like it's very easy to like create an image for yourself that people look up to, but I feel like that isn't success. Like success is in substance, not an image. So even if like the research report didn't go through and it wasn't successful and people were blaming me, at least I could walk away with my head held high, knowing that I did the right thing. So I just feel like integrity at all times, and you can never, you're always successful if you have integrity, basically, always, because that comes from within. Success doesn't come from, you know, external views or opinions or what people see of you. So I think integrity is a huge factor. The second thing in terms of being a successful leader for me is curiosity and hunger for knowledge, and that's not just when you're on the way up, that's when once you've made it to where you want to be as well. Like never stop wanting to perfect your craft, never stop wanting to speak to as many people as possible to see, you know, where you could be doing things better. So I think curiosity and hunger for knowledge comes with the skill or quality of adaptability, and also an element of humility as well. So understanding when you're not doing something as well as you could. I feel like university was also a really big time for me in terms of gaining the opportunity to be more humble in a sense, and to not see it, like not having to see my qualities or my strengths as just absolute. There are always areas where you can improve, and it's really interesting actually, because at the moment I'm working on a startup, a tech startup. It's something that I had no idea about before, so it's like really exciting for me. And a couple of weeks ago I had not an interview, but like a meeting with a potential investor, which was really good. And I remember him just firing all of these questions at me, like, you know, how are you going to monetize this? How are you going to do this? Like, what's your year plan or whatever? And he kept saying stuff like, oh, you know, don't be offended. Like, don't be offended. I hope you're not offended by what I'm saying, etc., etc. And I just had to stop him, and I was like, you can't actually offend me. Like, this is a product that I really want to see be successful. Any criticism that you give me, I'll take it. I'll develop, I'll adapt it, and I'll come back to you with an amazing product. So you actually can't offend me. Like, you actually can't. Either you've given me room to grow, or like I don't take it on. Like, if I don't think that it's actually founded or based in something like solid. So yeah, don't be offended. Like, always be willing to grow. Always be willing to just see where you can, yeah, learn as much as possible, really. And that doesn't have to be from books. I know that we've spoken a lot about like education and university, and like degrees linking into your careers and whatnot. But you know, you don't have to grow just by like being in your books. Like, you can go to so many events. Like last month, I tried to go to a new like networking event every week, even if that's just through finding something on like Eventbrite or something. Like, and you'll always meet someone amazing. Always take people's details. Always see where you can have a conversation and learn something that you didn't know about before. Something that you can, you know, something obscure that you can learn, that you can perhaps put into a different area of what you do. Just meet people and be open, basically. Always want to grow, always stay hungry. That's the biggest thing for me.
Nice. And Missy?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Hi everyone. It's so nice to see so many beautiful faces. And Victoria, thank you so much for having me, because honestly, when I heard that you were doing this, I was so honoured that you actually wanted me to be amongst such great people. So thank you so much. Before I even go into that, is it okay if I give like a mini introduction into myself? Okay, so because some people might be looking at me and thinking, who the hell is this girl? Like, who are you? So just to let you know a little bit about me. My name is Nissi. I started out, started my story in East London. I've lived in East London my whole entire life, so shout out to anyone here from East London. Yeah, thank you. We're always in the building. Yes, I love it. Started my story in East London. I've been brought up there my entire life. I went to a state school in Stratford called Sarah Burnell Girls' School. Woo woo! Shout out to my girl over there who went to the same school. Went to a state school in Stratford, Sarah Burnell. Wasn't the best. Now it's improving, but it wasn't exactly the best of schools. But, you know, I didn't let anything get in my way. I was always determined to kind of do well. After that, I went on to sixth form, which was an okay, better sixth form in Essex called Bill Sixth Form. After that, now I'm studying at the University of Cambridge, studying English literature. everything that I'm saying, by the way, is relevant. I have a reason as to why I'm saying it, so don't just think that I'm just saying it for the sake of saying it. Studying at the University of Cambridge doing English, but alongside my academic career as well, I do a whole bunch of other things. So I do presenting, hosting, doing events, doing panels and talks, this kind of stuff. And I do YouTube as well, so I'm a YouTuber. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, guys. I had to plug myself there. And everything that I do essentially is about motivation and inspiration and helping people to see their full potential and to see that they are great no matter where they started from, just like you said, Victoria, which I think is something really, really important that I want every single one of you guys to take away from today. It does not matter what background you come from. It does not matter where you started. It does not matter what color you are. As long as you are determined to do well and to be successful, you will get to your destination. Yes, the journey might not be easy. It might be difficult. You might encounter a lot of, you know, setbacks and difficulties, but that's life. It's life. And I'm 20 years old, and in my 20 years of living, I've noticed that life comes with a whole load of hurdles and hardships and pain and suffering, so much of it. But regardless of all of that, we always have to look forward and to our end goal, which is why I love Claire as well. She was absolutely amazing. But yeah, so to kind of go on to the actual question that you asked, traits that make a successful leader, yeah? So the first trait that I would say that makes a successful leader is understanding. One thing that I think that everyone needs to remember is that you're working with human beings. And as I mentioned, in life, you get a lot of setbacks. You get a lot of things happening in other people's life. As Claire mentioned, you have no idea what is going on in someone's life. Someone could have lost someone yesterday, but is still coming up and turning up and smiling in your face and networking with you. Someone could have broken up with a girlfriend or a boyfriend last week, and yet is still showing up. So for me personally, I believe that, as Claire mentioned, we need to treat every single person that we meet with respect and dignity that they deserve as a human being, and ensure that as a leader, you make sure that people feel comfortable around you and that you understand their circumstances. Understand that just like you, they have thoughts, feelings, emotions, and that they are there looking up at you, hoping that you will show them something, offer them something that is more than maybe other people can offer to them. So that's definitely number one. I'll say understanding, being understanding to everyone that you come across, treating people with respect. The second thing that I would say is serving. I feel as though being a leader is about serving other people. Being a leader is about being outside of yourself. It's got nothing to do with you. Of course, you're the one that's being the leader, but you are there to serve other people. As I mentioned, people could be looking at you, people could be looking at you as motivation, as encouragement. People could be looking at you as that one bit of hope. They might be at their last straw and not know what else to do. They might be in depression or whatever it is. And they might be looking at you as that last piece of hope for them. So you need to remember that you are there to serve other people. Put people ahead of yourself. And as Claire kind of mentioned, she mentioned that she was a Christian, and so am I. And that's one thing that I've always learned within my course, with my personal relationship with God, is always been to serve others before yourself. And then what will happen is that you will see that people will want to serve you, because you have ensured that you have nurtured other people before yourself, that you have shown a selflessness that they would admire and that they would love, because you're doing it out of the kindness and the love of your heart. Then people will want to work with you. Then people will want to join in with whatever business or whatever plan you have. Then you will see that randomly out of nowhere, you're looking maybe for a venue. Someone will come and say, I've got a venue for you. Maybe you're looking for brands to sponsor you at your event, and they will come and say, do you know what? Here, let me sponsor you. Because you have learned to serve first before anything else. So that would be number two. And finally, kind of similar again to Claire, would be perseverance. Perseverance is so key to anything that you want to go on and do. It's key because, again, you will have setbacks, you will fail, you will find times where you are thinking, do I even want to do this anymore? Honestly, I do so much. If you ask some of my friends, they're just like, Nissy, like, how do you even have time to run around and do everything that you're doing? Perseverance. Because I love it, because I'm motivated to do it, I continue doing it. And no matter what setback comes in my way, no matter what difficulty is thrown at me, no matter what has happened in my personal life, I will keep going. I will focus on that end goal, and I will let nothing get in the way of me. And that's exactly what I'll say to you today. Persevere through everything. You are born and you are here for a reason. The fact that you are not dead means that you still have a purpose to fulfill. That is it. So make sure you understand your purpose and you push through in order to reach that purpose. So yeah, those are the three. So understanding, serving, and perseverance. Thank you.
And last but not least, it's last but not least. Hi everyone, my name is Cynthia Yoon. I'm currently working as a management consultant at KPMG. I'm gonna kind of introduce myself, my story through one of the strengths that I think is really key to being a successful leader, which I think resonates throughout the panel today, which is perseverance, having that grit. So I was born in Korea and then I moved to the States when I was 11 or so, and I moved to an area where there weren't that many Asian people. They're just full of white people, and we were just this kind of interesting creature, and people just kept looking at us. This one person even stopped me and was like, are you an Asian? I was like, yes sir, I'm an Asian, Korean American to be more specific. And he's like, oh, all right, thanks. I don't know why people always need to kind of like validate their thoughts on who I am, and if who I am does not meet their expectations, and they just kind of get angry at me. They're like, no, I think you're Chinese. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm Korean American. They're like, no, are you sure? I'm like, yes, I'm pretty damn sure. And then seeing your parents not being able to speak English, they're new to the country, they can't really help you out, and you gotta be there to take care of your parents yourself, right, at age 11. And seeing them being yelled at, being looked down at by other people, that just like really frustrates you and makes you really angry. But what's important is that turning that anger into something positive, that energy to do something about it, to fight for awareness, racial equality, and so on. So I did a lot of work around that during high school and so on. And also after high school though, I mean, sometimes reality hits, right? Okay, I've done really well in school, but how am I gonna have money to go to college? You know, scholarship is pretty hard to get. How am I gonna go to college? So I actually thought about, you know what, whatever, I'll just work somewhere and support my parents. That's more important to me than, you know, me going off to college. Like Claire said, like, you know, sometimes you don't know if you are gonna really get a job after that. Is this really gonna be worth it? It's 4 years of education and lots of student debt. Is it really worth it? You know? But I don't know, sometimes like God works in mysterious ways, and I got scholarship from the Gates Foundation, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, to go to college. And that required me to search through so many different scholarships. I think I applied to like over 1,000 different ones. I mean, I didn't hear back from most of them, but one I heard back, and one that made such an integral impact in my life, because it was for students of color coming from low socioeconomic status whose parents have not gone to college before. And that community was so powerful for me. That scholarship didn't come with just the money for me to go to college and learn, but it connected me with so many other people who were like me. And that really inspired me and kept me going. And so my aspiration was to continue to work in that space, work for gender equality, and especially race, gender, socioeconomic poverty alleviation, and so on. And I went to Vietnam for 10 months to do a research on marriage and migration of Vietnamese women to South Korea. And I went in there with this naive thought that I'm gonna change the world. I'm gonna bring this nationwide women's equality movement, poverty alleviation, and so on, and I failed miserably. I got hit by a car. I couldn't get any justice though, because it was driven by a rich Vietnamese boys in their Porsche Cayenne, and they were hitting everybody on the street. But the government cannot do anything about it because they're so damn rich and powerful. Couldn't get any justice on that. I almost got abducted, I got scammed, I got sexually assaulted, and so on. It was a really difficult moment, and also a moment for me to actually recognize that, damn, I'm so lucky because I can just leave this country. And all this experience is actually, even though it was so hard, that actually enabled me to be able to empathize with other sexual assault survivors, right? So I then worked with the State Department to institute a system of support and education for the embassy and so on to, you know, protect and support sexual assault victims. Because the Vietnamese embassy folks that we reached out to, because some of us did have various sexual assault experiences, and they were like, well, you know, were you wearing long sleeves, and what were you doing? Were you walking late night by yourself? I'm like, are you serious? And you work for this embassy? How much cultural awareness and sensitivity do you have? Do you have any kind of education, understanding, empathy for what we are going through right now? Right, so, but anyway, that was difficult but also rewarding experience to connect with other people, and now many people who go through this Fulbright scholarship will have the system of support for them from the embassy. And then from then on, I also created an online campaign, a Korea chapter for Halabek. I don't know if you guys heard of Halabek. It's like anti-street harassment movement. It's global chapters, but there's one in London as well. So after that happened, I think my life is like full of interesting like perseverance and so on stories, and working now at KPMG also comes with quite a few challenges. I mean, one client asked me, she was like, what's that little Asian girl doing here? And I was like, you know, I have skills and knowledge, and that's why I'm here. And then even some of my colleagues who say, you know, because in their mind, leaders and, you know, people who are capable are not me, right? So this one colleague of mine, this kind of ties into my next point on what it means to be a successful leader, which is to be an adaptive and inclusive leader. And this colleague was telling me, like, you know, Cynthia, that woman right there, she's Black British, and that's the only reason why she's a senior manager. You can replace her. And that really upset me, because I am not going to be there because I'm this face of diversity, so this is what my colleague has called this other senior manager. I'm going to get there because of my own skills and my own abilities, you know, and that's something what you need to keep thinking, right? And so I actually, after 2 years at KPMG, started my own team in capability, but in the beginning, nobody thought I was going to be able to do that. But you just gotta keep going, keep proving people wrong. It sucks that you have to prove people wrong, right? Why can't they just trust you, support you to begin with, right? But that's what we have to do, especially as BAME women. Kind of going off on tangent, but in KPMG we also have KPMG Network of Women, which is fantastic. But I had a conversation with BAME women, and we talked about how different the conversations around white feminism is compared to BAME feminism. How, if you think about, you know, voting rights and all that kind of stuff, people say, oh, you know, gender equality, you know, women's right, women can vote. What women were able to vote? White women. Was it black women? No. Was it Asian women? No. Right? And that story kind of continues to happen. If you look at the studies done on how D&I, diversity and inclusion policies, has helped women, it shows clearly that white women are the biggest benefactors of this. Black and Asian women, BAME women still have struggles, because it's not just gender we're faced with, right? It's the intersectionality of identity of being Black, Asian, and also women. But that's also why I think we need to push for our leaders to be adaptive leaders. Unfortunately, I think that kind of conversation is happening more. Leaders who are not just white male and, you know, this stereotypical image of a leader, but somebody who is sensitive, somebody who understands and can really cater to the diversity of your team. If you guys want to read more about it, there's this adaptive leadership framework developed by Ronald Heifetz. He's from Harvard. So if you just put in the adaptive leadership framework Harvard, then you will be able to look at that. Yeah. So I think that's really key. And yeah, we have a lot of responsibility, I think, to change the narrative of what it means to be a leader. Another thing, I think Hope has already mentioned this, is about being intellectually curious, and I think that's what's really inspiring. The enthusiasm and energy that you have, but it's not about just being extroverted and speaking really loudly, but it's about the hard work, the energy for hard